There. This is Steve Wozniak extending my congratulations to all the graduating seniors of Saline High School. Been reading about your school a bit to get ready for this, and I am definitely impressed. To me, commencement, the word commencement means starting something new. You're starting something new in your life, and that's very important. I usually think about it more as graduation. I don't like to go to parties. I don't like to go to weddings. I don't like to go to funerals, but I always make it a point to try to go to graduations. It means so much. Education always meant so much to me, and the fact that you've gone so far through it and learned ways to not only think but to socialize with your thoughts is so important. And a graduation certificate means so much to me. I used to say the proudest day of my life was graduating from college, and because I actually went back and got a real degree. Now I sort of say it's my walking my daughter down the aisle. But so I was really impressed to hear about Saline High School's debate team. I mean, I judged high school debates, when my bright son was on a team in our school, and wow, those are the smartest, best communicators there are. I know that to me it represents kind of the overall smartness of a school if you have a great debate team. Out in Silicon Valley, our teams look a little different personality-wise than yours. We're very very I don't know, we're very very mixed where I come from. Anyway, your football team undefeated. Oh my gosh, that is a big deal. I've been around it before. Our high school, by the time I was a senior, they were undefeated, and the best team in Northern California, and that means a lot to the students. It really revved me up, kind of being for something. But I'm for any good team really. So Celine's team really deserves a lot. My father went to a big tech school called Cal Tech, a little school. They're not in any big leagues or anything. And the year he was there, he was quarterback. And I've talked to people that went to Caltech that actually went to watch him play. They were undefeated that year and unscored upon for the entire year, and they scored 200 and some points against their opponents. Yeah, it wasn't real big, strict league, but it's so hard to do when you figure that every game you go into is probably 50-50 chance. Why can't they be as good as you? It's on a chance level. Anyway, that's mathematics. High school has always been very important to me because I think back to my own time. That's when I was developing my greatest skills, high school and college. And I love speaking to high school students and college students more than any other group in the world. And my current career is public speaking, so I go around and speak to a lot of companies and governments, but schools mean the most. Now, I watched a video on your robotics club, and I've watched a lot of robotics videos. I judged FIRST Robotics at various regionals every year, as many as I could, and the nationals. I had to stop doing it because my speaking career took up so much that I don't get to the regionals too often. So important to me, and I watched what the students were saying. It was so real. One thing I like about robotics is when you come down to any subject in school, it's good to have a broad background. Robotics involves some mechanical engineering thinking and strengths of materials and what will work and how wheels will operate well and properly gearing a motor to get good effects. But you also have to understand electronics to feed voltages and current and electrical power to the motors and properly filter it so it doesn't destroy the parts it's connected to. That's a good, it's called the old analog electronics is involved. And then you got to have microprocessors, you got to have sensors that detect things around you, you've got to make decisions and be able to move, you've got to write software. The software alone is a big deal. And to me, what I see is in these teams, very often people that come into them, when I judged FIRST Robotics, didn't know that engineering is what they want to do for life. They sort of got on a team, maybe they got appointed even by a principal, and wound up saying, oh my gosh, I want to now apply to college and be an engineer. And that's one of the most important things to my heart. I always operated as a judge at the FIRST Robotics. I could have been a VIP just walking around, watching the competition, seeing which robots are great and good. No, I wanted to be a judge because we go into the pits, the backstage areas, and we talk to the teams, a team of maybe 3 to 20 high schoolers, want to know how it's affected them and what they're doing in life and where their thinking comes from. And 19 of our 20 awards are for things like, communicating to the community what you're doing, for being inspired, for having creative thinking and building your robot. And only one award is ever for winning. That's not what First Robotics is about. So that was a very touching video that I watched. One thing I like to tell people all the time is that you can be like, if you're a teacher. I was a teacher for 8 years, little known, elementary and middle school. Because I was famous, I kept no press allowed. And I was teaching full time, all day long, writing my own materials, not using any books. It was serious. 8 years of my life, up to even 7 days a week, because I cared about younger people getting a head start to go have a little better chance of getting through life with good education. But one thing I learned is that the knowledge that is imparted to you in school is much less important than your motivation, your wanting to do it. And I always tried to make everything in life, in classes, as fun as possible. When you're actually building something, it's almost like you're painting or creating your own music sonata. It's very much art, because when you're done, you have something to show. This is what we made ourselves. What you do on your own, this applies to everybody, not just robotics or engineers, but what you do on your own, you feel so important. Like in school, you'll know, oh my gosh, this is going to be my future, and I did it. It wasn't just handed to me by a teacher, by a parent, whatever. I decided, here's what I'm going to do, here's how I'm going to do it. Those things are so motivating. And I always say, follow your heart. When I was in high school, I had taught myself you could not get a book on computers, how to design them anywhere, not in the technical bookstores. I just put every little accidental piece I could encounter together and started on paper designing computers, and got to where I could design any computer in the world in 2 days. I did this in high school. Never thought it would be a job. I never thought it was a job. I was going to be an engineer. Engineers don't design computers. They get done in weird places called research or military. That was a long time ago, of course. But that was my thing. And I had 800s on all the math and science SATs. I was lucky to be a top student, as well as interested in electronics and digital, both of those. And I flew out to a college. I'd never been out of California before, to look at it. And it snowed there. And that was the only school I would apply to. My parents let me follow my heart. I went for the snow, this beautiful thing I discovered and loved. It didn't, wherever you go, how far you're going to go is in your own head. It's not a particular school gives you a particular type of education. It's in your head. Nice to be around people like yourself, because fun is more important than the schooling. It's the most four fun years of your life. I should say the most fun years of your life are in college. Be around, try to be somewhere you're going to be around people who think and live like you and have similar personalities. Personalities are so important, and we often forget that people who act different about life don't get along that well. Here's a funny thing. I was a psychology major when I went back to college to get my degree, and personality settled down between 18 and 23 years old, and from then on, that's the person you're going to be for life. Okay, when I was in high school, I'd be walking home from school and I was thinking out, what kind of person do I want to be? Kind of like you write a program for a computer. I was programming myself. How am I going to be liked? How am I going to be nice to others? How am I going to be caring? And what are the formulas for that? One thing, I read a big article about this guy buying and selling $50 million companies every day and rushing off to the next one. I thought, wow, would I like to be that rich guy? And I thought there, and I said, I just played a prank or something. And I said, no, laughing with my friends about a little joke or a prank that we played was what I wanted to be in life. On the day I died, that would be a better way to die. And what I wanted was happiness over accomplishment. And I made up a formula way back when I was about your age. And it was happiness equals smiles minus frowns. Smiles are positive feelings, frowns are negative feelings. Do pay attention to a lot of humor and the things that make you smile, even if it's going to concerts and laughing, doing your own things. Whatever makes you smile is so important. Getting rid of frowns is the harder part. If something goes wrong and you want to get upset, tell yourself, you know what, just let it go. Don't worry, be happy. And just say, well, whatever happened, maybe my car got dented. What do you do? Well, it might have to be, I have to save up and get a new car. Or it might be, you take it to a body shop, you get it fixed. Don't go looking backwards and always having a bunch of blaming and bad feelings in your life. If you can get through life with the fewest bad feelings in your head, don't argue with people even. Don't say, I can prove to you that I'm right. You do that, nobody ever wins. You never convince anyone. And so I just had a principle of I just won't argue. I have a good head. They have a good head. We're just different. The same thing goes for relationships. I mean, I go back to songs I heard. There ain't no good guy, there ain't no bad guy. There's only you and me, and we just disagree. I love to look at lyrics in songs for a lot of my life philosophies and principles. Anyway, I wish you were the best. I wish I were there these days. But the funny thing is, time only moves in one direction. So, have the greatest graduation, but have the greatest life and the most smiles you can, and be a good impact on the rest of the world, and inspire others and be a good example.